Episode 6. A couple weeks ago, but I only started hearing it this week. Puscifer put out a new album, which, if y'all don't know, it's a secondary or tertiary band from Tool's lead singer Maynard Keenan, along with a whole plethora of awesome musicians. I'm really digging this new album, especially this song called Bullet Train to Iowa, which got me in a mood to do something similar, a very moody, very on the rock side of things kind of song. So I went through some of the other albums and songs that I'm really digging that came out this year, and I found two that I think I can take references from along with the Puscifer song. One is a song called 41 by All Them Witches, and the other one's called Slipping by Oh Brother, which is one of my favorite bands. So they all have a common theme. They're similar in that they create this ambiance and vibe of pedaling almost on the same note, or at the very least the same scale. Most of the song stays within a certain parameter. What changes around that is what makes the song interesting. So the different rhythmic elements that come in and out, the different vocal arrangements that come in and out, the different way that they pan things in and out, those are the types of things that make the songs interesting. Not so much that they are dynamic in reference to a wide range of volume. So it's not going to be like a classic Nirvana song where the verse is really quiet and then it explodes in the chorus. No, this is an ambience type of track. All three of them are an ambience type of track. It's just some have different elements, like the 41 song by All Them Witches. I want to try to incorporate that little, like, really heavy, fuzzy, chugging part that they have in the choruses. I also want to incorporate, they like to use a lot of really long drum fills, so I'm going to try to include as much of those as possible in my song. I'm going to use the tempo and the time signature of the Puscifer song. I'm counting it in 3. I'm very well aware it could be in something else, like a 7/32 or some sort of crazy time signature, but the way I count it is in 3. So I'm going to keep mine simple or simpler, and I'm going to keep it in 3/4. And from the Oh Brother song, I'm trying to capture that same type of vibe, very mellow, very brooding, very melancholic type of vibe from the song. It's not so much that I'm going to copy note for note what they're doing. It's just I'm going for that really lush ambience in the song. So that's all that I have for now as far as the ideas of what I want to do. And then I'll report back with what I have come up with. Alright, so I have composed 2 guitar lines that will intersect with each other. They're going to be broody and mellow, but I want there to be some interplay between the 2 guitar lines. And what I did was play around with the way that I play each part so that it almost sounds like they're ping-ponging off of each other. At certain times they're harmonizing with each other, and then at certain times one's not playing and the other is. So here's an example. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I also wrote a bass line that is going to sit in the middle and kind of hold the 2 guitar lines as it's going to glue them together. For the most part, it is just kind of holding it down in the center while the 2 guitars are playing around on the right and left registers. Here's what that sounds like. As far as creating more ambiance, I took a couple of synth pads, one more ethereal and one more like a lead sound, and used both to create just a lot of width in the track. The pad itself is panned very wide, and the lead sound is using a random panner. So at some points it's, at every quarter note it's at a different point in the stereo field. So it is, again, creating a lot more of this richness along the track. And here's what those two combined, just those two elements, sound like. Alright, so for the drums, I found this 3/4 swing beat using the Addictive Drums plugin that I normally use for almost all my drumming. I found this fairly simple beat. It's just a hi-hat, kick, and a snare. And rather than just using that over and over and over in a loop, I also added a crash in the first one. Then I started messing around with either not using hi-hats and adding a little fill, some more crashes. In some points, I just took another part of another beat and just added a sliver of it to create a different feel every once in a while. At some points I just completely deleted sections and added a crash, so it added a momentary pause in the drumming and then kicked back up with just the snare, and then it continued on. So I kept just messing around with it, and then I found multiple long fills, like this one right here. So all of these are like tom hits that are gonna go back into the rhythm section. So all in all, most of the drums come from this one fairly straightforward drum beat. I just kept either going in and editing it, or finding other similar beats and wedging parts of them in to make it sound like a more interesting dynamic drum feel rather than just a very straightforward swing beat. So I have a conundrum of sorts. I ended up finding a way to include the chugs from the 41 song from All Them Witches. I edited another drum instead of a swing beat in 3/4. It's just a straight beat in 3/4. But I simulated a double kick so that I could chug along with it. I mean, it fits, but it doesn't flow nicely at this point in time with what I wrote out for the initial, I don't want to call it a verse, just the main part. I'm thinking it's gonna either have to be a bridge of some sort or an outro, because even though I can force it to fit in right after the main part, I don't see a clean way to get out of it because it's so repetitive, unless I write something that transitions out of the swing beat into the chugs and transitions out of the chugs back into the swing beat. So that's where I am right now. I'm trying to figure out, this is what the part sounds like. And see how it's not very, it is cool and I like how it sounds. It's just repetitive, and I'm gonna either have to find a way to ease out of that back into the main part, or just leave it at towards the end of the song and just have that be the ending part, crescendo up to the chugs, and leave it there and just end the song on that. So that's where I am right now, trying to figure out if I'm gonna use this immediately or just gonna leave it towards the end. So I think I got an idea working on how to bridge those two parts together. I think I'm gonna leave the chuggy part towards the end and just keep that on a loop, and then fade out the song with that heavy riff, And in the middle, what I did was keep a synth pad just on one note, just on C, which is the root note of the song. So the song is going to have two sort of feels to it. The first half, which has that swing style of drum beat, and then when this new part comes in, it's going to be a lot more cutting, a lot more drum and bass being in unison together in a lot more of a straight drum pattern rather than it being swung. That with a synth underneath that's just hitting the root note with the bass line moving through it, I think that is going to provide the platform for me to then be able to introduce this new, or not the new, to introduce the heavier part from the straight beat rather than from the swing beat. So, I got a little bit involved with this song. I normally try to keep abreast of everything that's going on and try to record my ideas and thoughts as I'm going through them, but after I had the structure for the song, I pretty much went full on. I did some leads at the end of the chuggy parts, like panned left and right with really high-pitched guitar leads. And then while I was arranging, I came up with sort of melody line. So that sort of repeated refrain, and that mumble sounded like the words "you don't know that," and from there on my head went 100 miles per hour, and I wrote lyrics. Normally I write lyrics for these songs based on taking little bits and pieces and words and phrases from the original 3 tracks. I didn't do that at all this time. I just went through and wrote lyrics real quick, mostly having to do with intrusive thought. So thoughts that you tend to have to ignore because they're just bizarre. And the "you don't know that" part of the song is sort of telling other people, like, I might seem normal, I might seem okay, I might seem like I'm all with it, but I have all these thoughts that I have to keep under control in order for me to look and present myself like I'm okay. So yeah, I didn't really record the guitar lines. I didn't record anything else from where this last jump cut was. So let's go ahead and go straight to the song then. This has been episode 6 of Reference Roulette. Don't forget to subscribe, and the song is called Intrusive.